Hey YouTube, I want to talk about some of the words and labels that the organization, the JW organization, uses to impose fear into its members, which thereby controls its members' behaviors. The organization uses a lot of negative labels on people, such as worldly, apostate, weak, spiritually weak, bad association, etc. I want to focus mostly on the word apostate here. And for those of you that are new to the organization or just tuning in for curiosity's sake, Jehovah's Witnesses, their publications, they define apostasy as the abandonment of the worship and service of God, constituting rebellion against God. They apply the term to a range of conduct, including open dissent with the religion's doctrines, celebration of false religious holidays that include Christmas and Easter and such, and participation in activities and worshiping in other religions. All of those things are apostate actions. Members of the religion who are accused of apostasy are typically required to appear before a congregational judicial committee by which they may be disfellowshipped, usually are. The most severe, which is the most severe disciplinary procedure that the religion has, because it involves expulsion from the religion and shunning by all the congregants and all your friends, all your community. And that actually even includes family members that aren't living in the same home as you. So and apostasy only applies to baptized individuals who leave the organization because they disagree with the religion's teachings, and they're also regarded, they're regarded as an apostate. So just on a side note on that, so if you are unbaptized, if you've never been baptized, don't. But if you're not baptized, you're just basically labeled as spiritually weak or your bad association, but there's still a chance that you might be saved. So, you can't be disfellowshipped because only those who are baptized get disfellowshipped, right? So going on about apostate, this label that they love to use because it's so negative, has such a negative connotation, and it's meant to be a really heavy mark on the person that it's used against. So for a large amount of exjws, they're considered apostate since they were baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses, and now they've moved on, or they think differently, or they don't believe all these things. So in the word, it's very negative. Oh yeah, and so I also wanted to mention the Watchtower Society literature actually describes apostates as mentally diseased, which is so crazy that that it's amazing that they even use those harsh of terms. They're mentally diseased individuals who can infect others with disloyal teachings. So they actually tell their members, like I was told this when I was a JW. So current active Jehovah's Witnesses are told that apostates, they're mentally diseased, and they can infect you because they're part of Satan's system, and they'll infect you with what Satan has, right? What Satan is, and all this, the world, and all these scary things. And they're actually defined. So former members who are defined as apostates, they're even said to have become part of the Antichrist, and they are regarded as more reprehensible than any non-witness, any worldly person out there. They're actually worse than any of them because now they know better, and they should be a Jehovah's Witness because they were baptized, so they know better, right? Sorry for all this light. It's so bright today, so I'm just trying to get away from some of that fabulous sun. So I want to talk about, historically, apostasy, okay? the word apostasy was considered a criminal offense. Like, people were killed for being an apostate in historic times. And in many societies, it was commonly likened with the same crimes as treason, desertion, or mutiny. It's a heavy, heavy word, right? So, but it's archaic. And it's extremely intolerant. And it's extremely unloving and just downright mean. And so what about the term, I should say, free will, that's spoken about in the Bible? That God gave us free will. And we're all taught that, God's given us free will, and we're so fortunate that He's given us free will. Yet, if you actually use the free will that Jehovah has given you, or God has given you, and you're a Jehovah's Witness, but you use that free will, and wait a second, you actually have a different thinking, or you disagree, or you have a question that no one can seem to answer, or you just simply think differently than what the organization tells you to believe, then you are considered apostate. You know what? This is the 21st century. We've come a long way since having to use these terms, in my opinion. It's called human rights. We have the right to choose what we believe without being imprisoned, killed. Like, we have a right to actually believe what we want to believe. But yet, Jehovah's Witness organization continues to use such heavy derogatory terms in order to discipline and scare. It's a scare tactic to use on current members so that they're afraid to even speak to their own family because they have different belief systems or different thinking and questions and such. So the organization is extremely wrong in doing this to people that choose to use their free will. And it's a great control tactic, but that also comes in under the whole thing of them being a cult, because that's part of what a cult does. It's behavior control, right? There's a heavy amount of behavior control, and this is one of them. When you start putting a term like this on regular people who are just using their minds and using their free will to live their lives, and yet all of a sudden they have to be shunned because they don't think the same way as we do, that is extreme. That's extreme, but that's extremely intolerant, and it should be done away with. Because the consequences for a current and active Jehovah's Witness to even speak to an apostate. So let's go back. Apostate is just somebody who doesn't believe what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. In this term, because I'm only speaking about Jehovah's Witnesses. Other religions also use apostasy, such as Islam, those type of religions, but I'm not going to speak to that because that's not my experience. So with Jehovah's Witnesses, they use this so that people, that the current members, if they actually are looking at even a video like this, I mean, I'm just talking about the definition of it and how using your own free will and your mind now can land you into the world of apostasy as a Jehovah's Witness. So it's a heavy consequence. And so it is a fear. It's definitely a fear tactic that they're using. Control, major control. So whether or not you use that word as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, that's obviously up to you. I choose not to, since none of these words that they have, like to instill this fear into people, apostasy, worldly, bad association, like all these heavy negative fear tactics, it doesn't define who I am, and it doesn't say who I am, and so anyways, that's why I don't choose to call myself an apostate, because they're meant to be derogatory, and let me tell you, once you can remove their language, the JW organization's language, from defining you, you'll be able to live your life on your terms, not on theirs. They might shun you, and they will continue to shun you for their silly practices, and because they're called, and that's how they're set up. So that's kind of it for me today. That's all I want to talk about, was just those fear words, those scary words that aren't scary, because I'm not scary. I guess I'm apostate, if that's what they want to call me, but I don't call myself that. So anyways, that's what I want to talk about today. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, please thumbs up, I love that. And your comments I always enjoy as well. So, yeah, thanks, and thank you for being here. Take care.